2, 3. Coming at you from my vape room in Winter Garden, I'm Marino the Vape God, and this is longtime homie Stetson.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Vape Jesus. So Stetson and I have been playing a whole lot with mesh stuff recently because mesh has been a real big deal in the market. So we figured we'd just talk about it a little bit. So no better place to start than way back at the beginning. The Mesh RDA by VandyVape was the first thing that started using mesh as a heating element instead of as a wick, as I discussed in a previous video. It was pretty simple. They just had like clamps in the build deck. Oh man, I can't get the RDA open.
It's always tough here.
No, I got it. Yeah. So very simple, very, very simple. It was squonkable, which was pretty progressive for the time. It was when squonking was first still coming up. But this was really cool. It was a big deal. Their mesh, we're going to talk about this more, but like their mesh is really, really fine. It really is just a bunch of wires all meshed together in almost like fabric, right? Like,
yeah.
Kind of like cloth.
Yeah, very, very fine.
But it's interesting because these days it has evolved to, I mean, yeah, you can't see that at all, but it looks a whole lot more like chicken coop wire, where it has like hexagonal holes in it and stuff, and it still maintains a meshy presence, but it's not individual strains anymore. It's actually all pressed out of a single piece, which is pretty weird. So the Mesh RDA was the thing that first brought it up, but I'm sure a whole lot of us have had the Freemax Fireloop Mesh, because this guy was the one that brought it into the pre-built coil market, which was a huge deal.
The mainstream.
Because like when the Mesh RDA came out, it was definitely first, but then there were like 2 or 3 major Mesh RDAs, like Cthulhu Mod made one. Yeah. A lot of people were going for a vertical style thing, but honestly, I think it just kind of fell out because Mesh wasn't terribly exciting to build with. It was too easy. It was too simple, and the people who like building and all that stuff, it's
definitely.
Yeah, like you're not making simple, easy builds all day over here. You know, we're playing.
Yeah.
So that was a big thing. But okay, so the Fireloop Mesh that happened, and then not long after, you know who's making mesh coils? Smoke. And when Smoke starts making something, that means it's big. You know, we hate Smoke, but like. When it's working, like they're using it, so that's kind of cool. But these Baby Beast coils, they use the chicken coop mesh, as exemplified in my way too tiny strip right here. Chicken coop mesh versus the regular like mesh, which the Fireloop right here was using mesh, which will now be referred to as mesh, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mesh.
So that's kind of cool. But then, not too long after, the Falcon came out. This guy uses chicken coop mesh, and this thing's the bee's knees. Now they're doing multi-mesh coils and all that stuff. That's pretty cool. And then we recently picked up the Profile, which is pretty sweet. Yeah, flaunt that shit right there. So that guy uses the chicken coop mesh, and it has a whole bunch of cool features that has the RDA accommodate the mesh a whole lot better. Oh yeah, listen to that ramp up time. And so like it has like this plastic piece under your cotton that presses up.
Ceramic, I believe, actually.
Oh, it's for ceramic. Oh,
I did hear that it was ceramic.
Oh, that's fancy. That's real fancy.
Yes.
So that presses your cotton up into the mesh so that your cotton never really like depresses and stuff. Like what else is making this thing so cool? Because I haven't owned one. That's why I'm bringing him along.
So the main benefit I've found with this RDA in itself, not only is the mesh super easy to build with, and of course, like he was mentioning, the ceramic plate underneath is spring loaded, and it's also squonkable. I don't currently have it set up on a squonk. However, the spring loaded will, like he was saying, keep that cotton up against the surface area of that coil so that you're not going to get any burning. Something with mesh that I've found in the past, at least with rebuildables, if you don't have cotton contacting that surface area, it will taste like burnt metal.
Oh yeah, no, that was definitely a thing with the VandyVape mesh. Dude, I mean, like if you weren't juicing it every couple minutes, like every couple of hits, it would just get these dry spots on it. It was fucking vile.
It made me hurt for the future of mesh rebuildables. The Profile has given me faith again.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet.
Yeah, I mean, similar airflow to the Drop Dead. That style there doesn't really allow for a lot of whistling, no turbulence. It's very smooth on the airflow. The mesh wire runs, you know, up to max of 65 watts. I'm running it at 60. it's just kicking clouds out. And the flavor on it, very sweet, brings out all the sweet notes in the juices. Where was I going with this though? The main thing about this RDA that really makes me think that it's going to be the future and kind of bring in more mainstream mesh rebuildables and kind of bring back our faith in that is just the all-around ease for building on this. I mean, it's clamp style. You can't really see that, but you just unscrew that and it's just a thin little layer where you're going to slide your mesh right in there. And I mean, it's easy. It's way easier to build on previously than with the Vandy Vape mesh.
One thing they drastically improved on, so I had talked about it a while back, but the Vandy Vape mesh came with mesh strips that were too long and too wide to fit into the only thing that used mesh at the time, which I thought was super stupid of them. This guy comes with, the little strip I was showing you right here, it comes with pre-sized little strips of mesh that are literally perfect fits, and they even have solid pieces on the ends so that the clamps on it don't like mess up your mesh. Which is pretty stinking cool.
Beautiful. That's why I was saying the ease of rebuilding. You're not going to get any warping on your mesh when you're trying to clamp it down. And just in general, I mean, the fact that you can throw so much cotton into this and then it's got that spring-loaded ceramic dish in between your leads.
Yeah, world of difference on that one.
Oh my gosh, it's amazing. You can dump juice into it with it being, you know, that top airflow style, and it just brings out the flavor notes. It's a beautiful RDA for sure.
It's pretty slick. Okay, but one interesting thing we observed is, you know, we were talking about how there was mesh, where it's a bunch of little threads. And then now we're going to, you know, like chicken coop pressed mesh.
Space age looking stuff.
Smoke recently dropped new coils for the TFE 12 prints, the larger size. And they're the max mesh coils. And I'm looking inside of here. You're absolutely not going to be able to see it on the video, but you'll see these in person. And they're going back to mesh. Which is weird. And I'm wondering what makes this style more max than, you know, the new cool chicken coop thing that everybody's hopping on. Like, what do you think?
I mean, let me just take a look at it real quick. Though.
Get your eyeballs all up in that one.
You know, really, it's just, it kind of does have that similar mesh that like the Vandy Vape mesh used, that type of wire. It almost seems like it's braided a little bit better, where it's got more surface area between the braids potentially. It looks like a kind of like a thicker. You know what I'm saying? It looks thick to me.
Yeah, the individual strands are definitely much heftier. And they're cross-woven. It's not just, they're not just in these two directions, you know, making a blanket. They're this way, and they have like this angle, an X angle going over it. So that is kind of neat. That is neat.
Maybe that is the max, sort of maximizing, I guess, the potential for getting juice in those layers of mesh, maybe.
I could believe it. Yeah, because, you know, like one of the reasons people like Claptons is because in the Clapton, the juice like gets all up inside of the coils and stuff. Maybe they're doing a similar thing with this. I'm not going to lie, I have not gotten to try the TFE 12 mesh coils. My opinion is not like super valid on these guys because I'm just biased against them anyway. But they are doing a neat thing right there. So that's pretty slick. One thing that I always did like about mesh that I'm kind of sad to see fading out is when the first wave of mesh was happening, temp control was a huge deal. Like with the Vandy Vape, dude, it came with nickel, steel, titanium. Like they were just laying all that temp control on you, and it was super easy to do. But for the profile that he just scooped up, that's A1 Canthal. Like, you know, that's just typical stuff. Which
no temp control.
Which is cool, but like
it's nice. I mean,
come on. It was like the only functional temp control we really had. You know?
Right. Agreed. And it would be cool to see, you know, Watofo come out with potentially different mesh styles, kind of like how, you know, Vandy Vape included with their kit when you bought the Vandy Vape mesh. It'd be nice to kind of see different wire styles potentially, so it could be more for that niche, you know, temperature control market. You know, there's people that like temperature control. And
there's like literally dozens of us.
Yeah, literally. There are dozens of us.
But so when the Fire Loop came out, they were using stainless steel, so you could temp control with the Fire Loop.
Yes.
That's cool. I'm looking at the Falcon here, you know, which is using chicken coop mesh, which in the profiles scenario is Canthal. They don't specify what it is on here. I don't know it. Actually, let me just check their boxes of coils.
Let's see here.
But, let's see. Flax fiber, mesh coil. Yeah, they're pretty non-specific on what it's made out of. Because, like, dude, the Falcon would be a bomb-ass tank to have temp control on. That would be easy.
That would be insane.
Yeah, they got nothing on here saying what kind of material it's made out of.
Dig deeper into that.
Yeah. Hey, if any of you guys know it, let me know, because we want to know. So that's cool. But yeah, mesh vaping's been pretty neat. I talked about it a little bit in a previous video, actually a couple times, because it's just my favorite topic. But the notch coils, if you want, just look at another video. Notch coils, I feel like they kind of paved the way for mesh vaping, because that was the first time that somebody was like, what if we made the heating element different?
Yeah.
And it was different as hell, and in its own way, it shares a lot of characteristics with the mesh thing.
I can see that. I don't know if they can.
I mean, now
yeah.
Yep, that's a notch coil right there.
That is a notch coil.
Stainless steel tube, notches cut out of it. Whereas, with mesh, it's stainless steel mesh, just no notches, stuff like that. So that's been pretty neat. I'm like, what's the dream mesh device? Like, I would like to see a mesh build deck that accommodates multiple mesh coils in a similar way to how pre-builts are, getting more and more different styles of it. Like something where I could do a dual mesh coil would be pretty fly.
That'd be awesome. I think that the build deck would have to be massive.
I'm game.
You could probably only put that on like a Hammer of God. However, that would look badass in itself. I could definitely see that. It'd be a very nice warm vape. Very flavorful.
But if we got ourselves some temp control, it could be exactly as warm as we want it to be.
That is very true. That is very true. For me, I'd kind of like to see the potential for maybe mesh getting into the salt nicking area.
Ooh.
Where you could get, I don't really know how you could do it, but, on a little small rebuildable, maybe 1 ohm down to like a 0.8 lowest, and you could just throw your salt nickel in there. And why not even take it a step further, RDTA, or make it like a squonk? They are coming out with these squonk devices for salt nick, like the Vandy Vape Simplex.
Yeah,
dope ass little device.
Okay, so the problem with making that happen is mesh has a stupid low resistance. So the way I'm envisioning it that it could happen, it sounds very counterintuitive, but like a really large mesh coil designed to burn at a super low wattage. I feel like that'd be cool because you get big airflow off of it probably. You'd get just like volume.
Yeah.
You'd have a lot of surface area going on there, and even though you're burning at a very low temperature, it's still
giving you that sort of effect of almost a sub-ohm hit, potentially.
That'd be kind of neat.
Dreams.
Somebody make it, because I'm too lazy to do it. That's pretty slick. Well, thanks for watching, hanging out with us, guys. Again, it's Marino. This is Stetson.
Take it easy, guys.
Later.